Once upon a time, in a village called Umunne, there was a rich family that had a beautiful daughter named Uwa. Uwa was special, but her parents didn't know just how special she was. Before she was born, Uwa was an Ogbanje, a spirit child who promised her spirit friends that she would return to their world by the time she was 18 years old. Growing up, Uwa had everything she wanted. Her parents loved her very much and gave her the best of everything. She had beautiful clothes, delicious food, and lots of toys. Uwa's childhood was filled with laughter and joy. But as she grew older, her spirit friends from the other world began to remind her of her promise. "Remember, Uwa, you promised to come back to us," they would whisper in her dreams. At first, Uwa was ready to go back. She missed her spirit friends and was eager to return. One day, while walking in the village, Uwa met a handsome young man named Onyema. Onyema was kind, funny, and always made Uwa smile. They quickly became friends and soon fell in love. Onyema loved Uwa more than anything and cared for her deeply. As Uwa spent more time with Onyema, she began to feel less eager to return to the spirit world. She loved Onyema and wanted to stay with him, but her spirit friends kept reminding her of the promise. "Time is running out, Uwa," they would say. The reminders became like torture to her soul, and Uwa started to feel scared and sad. One night, as Uwa was thinking about what to do, she had an idea. She would find a way to stay in the human world with Onyema. But how could she break her promise to the spirit world? Just when she thought she had a plan, something strange happened. Uwa started feeling very weak, and her heart felt heavy. She knew the spirit world was trying to pull her back. The battle between staying with Onyema and keeping her promise to the spirit world became harder every day. Uwa was 17, almost 18, the age when she promised to return to the spirit world. One day, she was going to the stream to fetch water when she met an old woman. The old woman looked at Uwa and said, "You are an Ogbanje, aren't you?" Uwa was surprised and scared. "How do you know?" she asked. The old woman smiled. "I was once an Ogbanje too. I know your worries, and I have a solution for you." Uwa's eyes widened. "Please tell me the solution." The old woman said, "You must get married, but your family should never accept bride price for you. If your husband pays bride price, you will die." Uwa couldn't believe it. "How can something so simple solve my problem?" she asked. The old woman replied, "Trust me, child. I know what I'm saying." Uwa was still unsure. "But how did you know I was an Ogbanje and about this solution?" The old woman nodded. "I lived through it. I was just like you. That's why I know." Uwa was convinced but worried. "My parents won't let me get married at this age," she said. The old woman smiled. "Use your influence on them. They love you dearly. They will listen." Uwa felt a spark of hope. She ran back home and went straight to Onyema's house. She told him about her plan to get married. Onyema was shocked. "I'm not ready to marry," he said. Uwa began to cry. "If you don't marry me, I will die and return to the spirit world." Onyema was terrified. "Why are you so desperate?" he asked. Uwa then told him everything about being an Ogbanje and the old woman's solution. Onyema was even more afraid. But I have no money for bride price, he said. Uwa reassured him, you don't need to pay bride price. We just need to convince my parents. Onyema agreed, and Uwa ran home, excited to tell her parents. She found them sitting outside their house and took a deep breath. Mother, father, I need to talk to you, she said. Her parents looked at her with concern. What is it, Uwa? Her father asked. I want to get married, Uwa said. Her parents were shocked. Marry? But you are too young, her mother exclaimed. Uwa used all her charm and influence. Please, I want to get married. It is very important to me. Her parents looked at each other, confused and worried. They loved Uwa dearly and wanted her to be happy. We will think about it, her father finally said. Few days later, Uwa called her parents and told them about her intention to marry Onyema. They were stunned and rebuked her. You are too young. You should focus on school and your education, her father said sternly. Why would you want to get married now? Uwa's parents couldn't understand why she was raising such an issue at such an early age. They refused and blamed Onyema for influencing their daughter. Uwa began to cry. If I don't get married, I will die soon. You need to be ready to bury me. Her father was taken aback. Why would you say such a thing? Are you an Ogbanje? Desperate for answers, her father went to the local herbalist to inquire. The herbalist confirmed that Uwa was indeed an Ogbanje and advised the father to do as Uwa wanted. Returning home, he informed Uwa's mother, who cried her eyes out. Reluctantly, they agreed to let her marry Onyema. But we won't accept any bride price, Uwa insisted. All I need is your blessing. With heavy hearts, they blessed Uwa and Onyema, who then began to live together as husband and wife. Later, Uwa opened up to Onyema about why her bride price could never be paid. I was already married in the spirit world. If I marry again legally in the human world, I will die. Years passed and Uwa and Onyema lived happily together. They had two beautiful daughters, and through Uwa, Onyema became very wealthy. But there was one thing missing in Onyema's life: a male child. Due to complications from her last childbirth, Uwa could not have any more children. Onyema became impatient and began to resent Uwa. He wanted a son and decided that the only way to get one was to marry another woman. He started pressuring Uwa's parents to accept the bride price so he could make Uwa his legal wife. But his intention was different. Uwa's parents were happy, not knowing what was at stake. Let us accept the bride price now that you have made it in life. It will make everything right and our daughter's position as a wife would be secured. The pressure from Onyema and her parents became unbearable for Uwa. Despite her fears, she finally succumbed to their pleading. All right, she said with a heavy heart. You can accept the bride price. Uwa knew what this meant. She felt the spirit world calling her stronger than ever. She hugged her daughters tightly, wondering how much time she had left. Knowing what was at stake, Uwa made Onyema promise never to marry another woman or get any woman pregnant, even if she died. Onyema, driven by guilt and a desire to appease Uwa, promised her. Soon after, the bride price was paid. Not long after, Uwa became very sick. Despite Onyema's efforts to save her, Uwa passed away. Her parents and Onyema mourned her deeply, but life moved on. A few months after Uwa's burial, Onyema broke his promise and got another woman pregnant. He thought Uwa was gone forever and couldn't harm him anymore. However, a few months later, Onyema mysteriously fell ill. His condition worsened rapidly, and he died before the baby was born. The pregnant woman, devastated by the news of Onyema's death, lost consciousness and later had a stillbirth. Despite the tragedies, Uwa and Onyema's two daughters grew up strong and wise. They took over their parents' businesses and properties, leading them with great skill and integrity. In this story, we learn that promises should never be taken lightly, especially to those who love and trust us. Breaking a promise can bring unforeseen consequences. Love and honesty should guide our actions, ensuring we respect the bond and commitments we make. This is Umma's story time. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I am Amarachi Ihoma, the young storyteller.